Wow, Ryan.
Wow, Dad.
Saturday's event was off the chain, bro.
Yeah, no, I mean, it really was. I mean, UNF 22, Woodland Hills, our first event there, which I was very excited about. Turned out to be great. Fights were amazing.
Amazing night. Well, the fights were amazing. I think the matchmaker actually finally did his job for this event, to be honest.
Who's the matchmaker?
Oh, you want a little pat on the back?
No, who's the matchmaker? What's his
You're
name?
the matchmaker.
Oh,
Ryan Buckner.
Oh.
Yeah. No, honestly,
Did a good
bro,
job, didn't he?
you did a great job making those matches. There were so many exciting fights. You had a total of 11 fights. Let's cut to it, bro. What was your favorite fight of the night?
Oh, I mean, listen, the night was filled with amazing fights. Shout out to all the fighters. They brought it. The energy in there was insane, but I think it's a no-brainer. Jason Granado versus Attila Eric was the fight of the night. By far, one of the best rounds of fighting I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I mean, I was on my feet the whole time. I thought Jason looked amazing. I thought he was picking apart Attila. I think he dropped Attila a couple times, and then Attila, that dude is a dog. I think Attila's a straight gangster, if you ask me.
Yeah, I know.
Bro.
I think he dropped him like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
And I mean, when you rewatch the fight, right, like Jason was kind of having his way, picking his shots.
Yeah.
Attila was still firing back. But what you could see in Attila was like, he was staying composed in the fire in a sense, right? Like he was still locked in the whole time, even when he's getting rocked. I mean, they were just going back and forth, and then Attila just landed that kill shot. I mean, but in my eyes, you always say this, there was no loser in that fight. I know Jason's probably feeling it right now, but the way he fought, the way Attila fought, they delivered for that main event of that evening for sure.
Yeah, the cool thing is I talked to Cody Sessions, Jason's coach, and he really felt that was a high-level fight. There was no loser, and he was super proud of Jason. I mean, I thought, in all honesty, man, that was just probably one of the best fights we've ever had. And how long did it last? Do you even remember?
I think there was like a couple seconds left in the first round, so 2.5 minutes to almost 3 minutes.
Now, and shout out to Jeremy McPeak, who runs our social media, right? He put
Shout out to Jeremy. Jeremy.
He put that clip up on social media. I think we have like 150,000 views, something like that.
150,000 views, almost like 5,000 shares, are probably past that now. And, that's kind of unheard of, right? These guys are rising stars, getting this kind of platform and them putting in the work, but then for it to get seen like that much, it's kind of crazy. You don't really hear about this anywhere else for rising stars.
Listen, Attila and Jason both brought it, but it started at the weigh-ins. If you really looked at their focus and their determination.
I was right in the middle of them. I could feel the energy. I was like, oh, this is going to be a good one. They're going to come at it.
Bro, I didn't know how to call that fight, to be honest with you, because they both really wanted, and really they both kind of fought up a weight class also, right?
I mean, listen, like to make that, we had a different main event at the time, right? Griffin Rodriguez, was out due to injury. Jason Granado's actually been wanting to fight a little lower in weight. This opportunity came up. Jason said yes, no hesitation. Attila said yes, no hesitation. And when we made this fight, a lot of kickboxing people around the industry and everything was like, wow, we've been wanting to watch this fight for 5 years. Yep. These are 2 of the best guys that never fought each other. So we ended up making it in MMA. And everyone, since we announced about, was excited and could not wait. And then the build up and then them fighting, you could see why everyone was so excited for it.
Dude, those guys just totally delivered. And Attila, after the event, he's like, hey, Kris, thank you for everything. I think I broke my nose. Like,
I know.
The guy potentially has a broken nose. I don't know for sure. But the way he fought, there was never an ounce of quit in him. Attila was not leaving that building without that belt.
Yeah, no, I mean, Jason was like that too, right? You can see it in his eyes.
Yes,
it was just,
I agree.
That fight after the first 30 seconds, you knew it was not going the distance, and both guys were going to leave it all out there. Shout out to Jason because, it wasn't his night that night. He performed very well, but, he's not a loser in my eyes watching that fight.
I don't think anyone, he didn't walk out with the strap, but I really feel, Ryan, obviously you're the matchmaker, you make the decisions, but to me, that guy is championship caliber, right? Like, he needs to get back in there, get a win, but I think he should be in line once again, right off the bat, in my opinion.
Yeah, you know what? I think he wants to go down a weight class, so we'll get him a couple fights. But yeah, having that kind of performance, you're right there. Another good fighter, maybe 2. He'll be right there in title contention for sure. Well, we did have another title fight on the line. Fedia Chabanian versus Liam Conroy. That fight was also, I mean, Fedia looked so good in that fight. So dialed in.
I've never seen Fedia so dialed in and so aggressive, but I think I know the difference in this fight.
Talk to me.
He was fighting for something bigger than himself. He recently lost a family member, and he was dedicating this fight to that person. You just saw it in his eyes. He was fighting for something bigger than himself. Yeah, no,
he did the post-fight interview with Sherelle, in the back, and Sherelle told me he started crying during the interview explaining that. And yeah, I think when fighters are really fighting for something and they're locked in and dialed in, they're just fighting on a whole another level.
Hey, Kris, you remember Fedia's interview?
I do.
And how was it?
Bro, it was emotional. Like his whole team was there, and they were all like super emotional. Like it's a great fight team, and like in the back you see them like come all together before each of their fights, and it was great.
Yeah, they do roll deep like that. And by the way, guys, whoever doesn't know who Kris is our podcast manager. Does a little bit of everything around here. Helps with the video editing and pretty much anything to do with Fight Family and Up Next.
Kris, you've been with Up Next Fighting since day one, right?
And Kris, I'm going to make you input a picture of yourself in this video so everyone can see what you look like.
My first UNF show was the first Rising Stars show. It was the first one where it was only Rising Stars.
So would that be UNF
3?
3. Yeah.
I call it 2.5.
Yeah, because we didn't number the Rising Star shows at that point. But Ryan, it was the funniest thing because that night after the event, Kris comes up and he's like, dude, those interviews. I'm like, yeah, what's up? He's like, there are four or five fucking people crying. I go, winners or losers? He goes, both.
Yeah, you know.
Sherelle handled it like a champ, though.
Yeah, shout out to Sherelle.
You really got to give it to Sherelle. I think she does a really good job making people feel comfortable, and doing those interviews, which is what I like about Sherelle playing that role is she has no formal training or experience as an interviewer, social media person, any of that. She's just being her.
Yeah, no, she is. And she's really honestly became great at it, and she's just stepped up. And I hate giving Sherelle too many compliments. And
giving her, she's gonna ask for a raise. Or
what? She already thinks she does a lot. And like, come on, no, but she's doing great, honestly.
One cool thing, at the event since we started the podcast, a lot of people actually hit me up like, bro, the podcast is awesome. What was the inspiration? Why are you guys doing it?
Kind of bring up Fedia looking like a different animal, right?
Yeah,
because he was fighting for something. I feel like the Fight Family podcast, it's us to be able to chat shit and talk shit to each other. It's all fun and games, but we kind of get to sit down with a lot of fighters and guests or whoever may be and kind of figure out their why they chose fighting, what they're fighting for, and get into their stories. I think that's the main reason we did start Fight Family podcast.
Yeah, I'll tell you, through the podcast, I've learned so much more about, these athletes. I mean, sitting down with Anthony the Bully Romero, Gianni Vasquez. I mean, you get a new appreciation for really who these fighters are, the hard work that gets, put into this thing. And it is, really inspiring and pretty cool to be able to share the story. And it's also kind of cool to kind of play around with you a little bit.
Yeah, that sounds like a great time. Just play around with me.
Well, listen, bro, you're not the sharpest tool in the shed. So what I get to do is I get to expose you in front of, people on the podcast.
I get it from you. So thank you very much for that, Dad. It is amazing. I mean, listen, since we started Up Next and then now this other avenue to really promote fighters and we're kind of practicing what we preach, right? I'm really trying to give these fighters a platform and let them get their stories out there. And it's fun to call you an old man all the time as well.
Yeah, that's got to be really fun.
How old are you, by the way?
I don't even want to go there, Ryan. I mean, it's kind of public record. If you really want to know, you could get it figured out.
That's okay.
I have to tell you, I think this is one, and I hate to say this, but I say this all the time, like one of our best events ever. I mean, 11 fights. The energy in that room was amazing. And one thing I really liked, I liked doing it at a smaller venue. I mean, it's only 1,000 people capacity, whereas Commerce is about 2,200 or whatever. But the energy, it's like, I want to start calling those kind of fights like our Fight Club series or something.
Yeah, we can come up with something, but it's just a lot more intimate, right? Like you're hearing every punch, you're hearing every kick, you're hearing the corners talking. It's just a lot more intimate. You get that real experience. And I really loved it. I'm not gonna say where we live exactly, but it's about 15 minutes away from the house. So that was great.
It was much easier, not such a commute, man. I can't wait to go back there. And the folks at the Marriott there were just freaking amazing.
Yeah, and the night itself, I do agree it was one of our best events yet. I think, once it got started, it was the vibe was a little mellow. Once like 2 or 3 fights kicked in, though, the energy in there was insane. Jada Wright versus Carly Lombardo, that's when the arena started going crazy.
No, totally. Look, the first couple fights were fine. They were good. They weren't bad, but there were no knockouts or there no finishes. They were very well matched fights. Just a couple people going back and forth with each other.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, they all stepped up though, and it sucks because like we talk about the guys crying during their post fight interviews, whether they lost, they were fighting for something going on, but it's crazy because I feel like a lot of the guys that lost that night were they visibly very sad, and it's so tough to see that because we're just developing relationships with the guys, and it just
look, I mean, I think Danny Labastida lost by submission, and Danny looked just devastated. You know, he's one of my favorite fighters. Will always be one of my favorite fighters.
Just like everyone else on the roster.
Yeah, I mean, Danny is truly the people's champ. I mean, it was just, you know, just to see the devastation, you know, on his face when he lost was just, you know, heartbreaking.
But the good thing I think they feel with us is that, you know, we're building the UNF family, and they know there's no real losers in our books, right? Like if they're coming up and they're finding like a guy like Danny, he's going to go out there and give us 110% every time. And their competitors, I know they don't like losing, but just know, guys, we're fighting with UNF, and you come out, you support, and we have a great relationship. We're always going to treat you guys like winners.
Well, look, I think we said it in our pep talk in the locker room, right? Like UNF doesn't care who wins or loses that night. As long as you get out there and you do your best, I mean, that's really all that matters.
Everyone needs to see those pep talks, by the way. Next time I'm going to record you when you do it.
Don't ever fucking
This guy's energy is on 10. You want to give him a little snippet of what you do?
No, I don't want to, man. Like, I try to get in the moment, man. I try to be like that dude that kind of inspires.
And you do, honestly. I'm sitting there and I get chills. And he's like, Ryan, you want to say something? I'm like, well, I can't top that, guys, but go out there and kick some butt.
No, but I feel like, you know, so many promotions, these guys get treated like numbers. And I know we always say that, but I think they need to know how enthusiastic we are as a promotion and how much we support them. And they have to know whether they win or lose. We don't give a shit. Just give a great performance. Give the fans what they fucking paid for. And honestly, man, take advantage of the Up Next platform and build your brand. Because a lot of these guys, you know, can lose, but they are still building their brand, getting that experience, and they have great futures in front of them.
No, 100%. And even today, I mean, I hit up Nathan Hawthorne, who incredible fighter, right?
Wow.
His fight was a great high-level fight. Didn't go his way. But talked to him today, and, you know, he messaged me saying, hey, just want to let you know, you, your pops, UNF, you guys are the best promoters around. I fought for so many different organizations, kickboxing, MMA, you know, and he's been a guy that's been around the Rising Star scene a while. And he just said that and, like, you know, sent an emoji with a heart on it. But that just means the world to me that we are making these fighters feel important, especially like we are trying to do. You know what I mean?
I have nothing funner than after the event, I'm dead because, yes, Ryan, I'm old.
And you're walking with a limp.
And I'm walking with a limp. People are like, what's wrong with you? Yeah. I've got some health issues.
Wait, by the way, I'm 27. I do the same thing. So.
No, but nothing is more inspiring just to see these kids DMing me at 2:00 in the morning. Thank you. Love you guys. Really appreciate everything. And I think, you know, what we're doing is great, but we wouldn't be anything without these great athletes. I mean, you look at Nathan Hawthorne, what a class act, comes from a great gym, one of the top guys, right? But fighting Rayshawn Rowland. I mean, two of the top guys willing to put it all on the line to showcase their skills.
Yeah, and I love working with those type of athletes, right? And it's amazing when the best want to fight the best. Let's talk about Rayshawn a little bit too, because, you know, when I'm matchmaking, well, first of all, I want to talk about what it's like to work with him, because honestly, he had a couple options, right? When I'm matchmaking, there's a couple names I go out to each of these guys. He said he wanted to fight Nathan Hawthorne because he felt like he was the toughest guy available.
Listen, Nathan Hawthorne is one of the toughest guys.
He's one of the top guys in the state. 100%.
Well, when you told me you were making that fight, I was just like, whoa, that's a
I was so excited. I ran to Pop's office. I'm like, I got a sick fight for us. Yeah.
Look, you gotta hand it to Rayshawn, willingness to fight somebody like Nathan. I mean, Nathan fought Pargev, the 125-pound champ, had a good performance. I mean, Pargev is just on another level than everybody, in my opinion, but Nathan is just a beast.
Yeah, no, he is. I want to ask you, what was like your one like WTF, like what the fuck moment for the event? Was there anything that surprised you during the event? Was there anything, you know, like that one crazy moment for you?
We're jumping around, but I am going to tell you, like, look, you can't take anything away from Jason and Attila, right? That was just a what the F is going on here. But Carly and Jada.
What?
The whole fight was one of those moments for me to see these girls going at each other, going head to head. And then when you looked at them, they both wanted that fight so bad. Carly, got lit up by Jada once, and she just smiled back at Jada. Like, I'm like, what is going on here? I love this fight. No, these girls are like,
they brought
bringing it.
They freaking brought it. That was a great fight. I remember I was sitting at the time with some of my friends just watching the fight, and they're like, dude, we have no idea who's going to win. It's going back and forth. It's this and that. And I talked to Jada today, too. I was like, it was such a great fight. So proud of you and Carly both. Looked like you were a little gassed in that second round, about to go in the third. And she's like, I just had to dig deep and get the W.
I don't want to talk any shit, but when going into the third round, Jada was on the stool. She was breathing hard. It looked like she was gassed. It really did. And then I look over at Carly's car. She's high-fiving her coaches. She's like, I'm ready to get in there and freaking do this. And then the third round went the way the third round went.
Yeah, no, but shout out to both those girls. And then after, I'm just, I forgot who I was talking. I was right by the cage, and everyone just screaming, Ryan, Ryan.
I was right there in your ear.
I'm like,
bro.
what's going on? It was you. Yeah, your voice. It's
Annoying. I know.
terrorizing me at
I
all
know,
times. But
I know.
anyways, Ryan, I'm like, what? Jada's talking to you. So I look in the cage. She's on the mic and she's calling for her title shot, which I thought was a really cool moment too.
Well, she said when she was on the podcast, she said, Ryan, I'm going to win. And then I'm going to look over at you at the cage and I'm going to call for my title shot. I mean, Jada really, did what she said
I
she was
always
going
get
to
put
do.
on the hot seat. I want to do it to you now. Is that something we're going to do now? Is it time for Jada, right, to get her title shot?
Can I tell you? And again,
you're playing matchmaker right now, just letting you know. So
yeah, but I'm not a good matchmaker. I'm not a purist like you and George. I get a little emotional. I'm a fanboy of these athletes. I could even see Carly versus Jada for the belt. I could see that rematch for that belt. Now, you may think differently because Carly, is coming out with a loss. But man, the way that those two girls fought, the fans want to see something like that again. So I could see Carly fighting for her belt, Jada fighting for that belt. I'm a big fan of both. But yes, Jada is first in line.
All right.
Was that what you wanted to hear? Or
No, I just
did
want to
throw
hear
off there?
I want to hear your thoughts. No, it didn't matter.
Listen, I think the problem too is the women's talent pool is not as deep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when you have two amazing fighters like these two young ladies, wow, you can't go wrong putting them on any card, whether it's for a belt or not.
No, for sure. I think Jada is probably gonna get that title shot next. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I do want to start having some more girls fights though, because I think the crowd loves it. I personally like it, and like you said, the talent pool isn't the talent pool's just the amount of people that fighters compared to the guys division.
Listen, if we're being real, I think that was our third women's fight.
Yeah.
I think our promotion, up next has done a lot of great things. I think we're trendsetters now. I definitely believe we're the premier, MMA promotion in California, if not on the regional scene in the US. I think we've changed the dynamic on the local scene for sure. But one area we are lacking, we got to do better, is get more women's fights on our cards.
Yeah, no, for sure. I 100% agree with that. And that's mainly probably my fault because I'm doing a lot of the fighter outreach. But I'm going to make it happen.
Well, I
gotta
think
do it.
It's not that, Ryan. Like, I think at the end of the day, we have...
Oh, it's not my fault?
No, this time,
Yes.
I'm not throwing... Chris, I'm not going to throw Ryan under the bus this time. Most
Thank
things
you.
I will blame on him, but...
Appreciate it.
Mark the calendar, Chris. No, but I really think you have such strong interest from a lot of these gyms now, right? And you're working with those who are reaching out to us, who really want to work with us, right? Those are the people that, come first in line. So I think you're doing a good job, but I do feel like the fans, listen, any athletes that fight like Carly and Jada, we want the up next to be their home.
We're talking about the way, they were fighting. Honestly, this card, there was a bunch of close decisions. It's just top level guys, right? Going at it.
And listen, you know me, man, I don't like to shit on anybody. And I'm not going to say which specific fights, but the judges don't always get it right.
Yeah.
There were a couple fights, I believe, I don't know that I agreed with those decisions. I don't know how you feel. I'm not going to say the fights, but
every single card, I feel that way, right? But a lot of the fights were just really, really close where you could give it to someone, but you don't get mad if it goes
well, there was one
right?
fight you and I were talking about, and you thought one person was winning. I was kind of saying the other person. I also feel like I'd never want to be a judge. I could never be a judge, but it really you have to look at, every judge is a little different. They look at different criteria. Some like grappling more, some like wrestling more, some are giving more credibility to.
Yeah, but that's where I think that it needs to change, right? There has to be a specific criteria, which there is, and everyone has to judge by that criteria. But you're right. It's honestly one of the hardest jobs in the world. You're in the cage, you're watching the fight in real time, and sometimes you're not going to get it correct.
We can all be internet trolls. Oh, fast stoppage. Oh, this, oh, that. But you're not in that cage and having to make that decision. You're not sitting cage side and seeing everything. You know what I mean? So I shout out to the refs and the judges. I think they do the best that they can do. It's just a nature of this beast. But that's why when I give them those pep talks in the back, I always say, don't leave it in the hands of the judges.
I went up
every time.
I went up to one of the fighters, and I said, hey, it was a close decision, and he seemed very down. It's like, I honestly had you winning on my scorecards. Very good fight. Just want to say thank you. He's like, nah, fuck that. I shouldn't have left it in the hands of the judges. I love that mentality. I love that. Because as a matchmaker, promoter, you see these guys put all the work in, and maybe they get a little robbed, and you feel kind of bad. So you just want to tell them how maybe you saw the fight, but that type of mentality is what's going to get you far in the sport. Well, not playing the victim or anything. Like, I got to do better to get the dub next time.
You can't play the victim, and it's easy to say, oh, don't even have the judge. But if you're fighting a top-notch dude, it's hard to finish him. But I get it. But I think the cool thing about doing these all Rising Stars events, the wins and the losses don't really matter. These guys are all amateurs at this point, so it's all about getting that experience, learning these lessons, so that way when they turn pro, where your record really does matter and real money's involved, You've already experienced it all.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Can we go back to Rayshawn a little bit and Nathan's fight?
We go back to Rachel.
Oh, okay. So I'm like rewinding here.
Okay.
Like, how good did Rayshawn's jab look?
Rayshawn's jab looked amazing. Honestly, he looked dialed in and locked in. And I think for anyone who's seen Rayshawn's fights in the past, there's times he really shows up and there's just a really high level fight in there. Sometimes he's always looked good, but there's just times he's not showing up as much. I think this fight he was so locked in and just came in. You saw the best Rayshawn rolling that night. His jab was on fire. The distance management was on fire. And he just looked like a whole nother beast.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Nathan, where he made his mistake with Rayshawn's striking being so on point that night, because Rayshawn used his length really well during that fight.
Yeah.
Nathan should have just tried to take him down.
Yeah, I think Rayshawn told me, or someone told me that that's what the corner of Nathan Hawthorne was saying. That Nathan was saying, like, listen, I can't get to him right now. Like the range or the jab is popping me. But one thing I loved about Nathan, he was still coming forward. He didn't care if he was eating shots. He was going to try to take his head off, and he did that the whole fight.
Well, listen, I honestly feel the first couple rounds, I thought, if I recall correctly, I thought Rayshawn won round one. Thought round two was pretty close. But
honestly, I rewatched it recently. 1 and 2 for sure for Rayshawn, 3 for Nathan.
Yeah, Nathan definitely won round 3 for sure. But I thought there was another round that was kind of close. But what do I know?
What about Diego suplex? Switch it up.
Diego, wow!
Did you see that picture on Instagram with his face? It's like
flipping Jason Jones upside down.
Yeah,
but that's another one when you talk about records and stuff. And unfortunately, Jason, didn't get the decision, right? And so Jason's record now is like what, 0-3?
He is the best 0-3 fighter I've ever seen.
That's what I'm saying. I am a big fan of Jason Jones, and this is why too. Like, I don't look at records; I look at skill sets. Like, Jason Jones is amazing. He's freaking great. Like, I don't know. I'm a big fan.
There's a bunch of 2-0 guys, 3-0 guys that Jason could beat.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
In a heartbeat.
Yeah,
in a heartbeat. Jason's just a dog.
He's one of your favorites too. So you're really hyping up. But I agree with everything you're saying. But I just want to make fun of you.
Yeah, listen,
your favorite.
Jason rocks it. If you watched his walkout when he had his do-rag on, like, he's just got such swag. He's got the little mullet going.
He's so funny, honestly. He's just a good guy.
Yeah, listen, I am, and I always use this word, I am a big fan of his. I mean, class act. Though he didn't get the W, he still had a great attitude. And I think he wants to fight on our March 1st card.
I mean, there's a lot to talk about March 1st, but a lot of the fighters that actually just fought last weekend want to get on the March card as well.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, but I thought Diego looked really good. His wrestling was really good. He did a really good job, but Jason clipped him a couple times.
No,
really
Jason
good.
definitely clipped him a couple times. This is a very close fight. That was one of those, I think Diego controlled the fight better.
Yeah.
But Jason did more damage. And it's just one of those things. It's like, hey, which way are you going to go with this?
Yeah. Yeah, it was a super...
But honestly, a funny thing. So Mark Sanders made his debut at UNF, and he fought a tough opponent, but also got the win. But took him back to the back to do an interview with Sherelle. And David Rojas was cornering his opponent. Yeah. They were in the back also. So Mark Sanders goes up to David. He's like, hey, what weight class are you in? David's like 35. Mark Sanders like, I'm going to see you soon. Now, David was like looking at me like, I'm going to slap this fool. I'm like, please don't do that.
David Rojas, our former champ, who's making his pro debut shortly.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, no. It was funny. Kris was there. Kris.
Yeah, I was there for that one.
How was that?
Did you see my face? I was like, I was getting kind of scared. I was like, David, not here, please. He's like, if he keeps talking, I'm going to slap him. I'm like, not here, please.
Why do you think you call him out?
I think Mark's a really cool guy, too. And Mark is a young, hungry kid who has skills. I think he just got to win. He's on cloud 9. He's like, hey, anyone could get it. It wasn't in like a, that's how he was feeling type of thing. I don't think calling out David Rojas right now in your career is the best move.
Dude, David Rojas, you don't want to play with him.
And then Chad was also there. Chad just gave a look like, what the hell's going on? I'm like, I don't know. But I thought it'd be funny to bring up. But that's what you deal with kind of with guys that want to fight for a living. And they're also very competitive, right? It's a competitive sport. It's a competitive
Mark
nature.
was an interesting guy. He was enjoying every moment, not only the event, like content day. Like, he was like all into it. Like, he loved his sit down interview with Sherelle and I and the event. He was just happy to be there. He was the first fucking dude at weigh-ins like an hour early. Yeah. No,
let's talk about that a little bit. I mean, we'll get back to the fights, but I think it'd be good for fans to kind of know what goes into all the fights and everything. The weigh-ins this time are usually a shit show, to be honest. Not anything to do with us, but fighters missing weight, whatever it may be, just issues. This weigh-ins was the smoothest thing of all time.
Yeah.
All the fighters showed up early. We were almost done with everyone within an hour. No one missed weight. Everything was perfect.
Yeah. Like, it was like surreal. Like, I'm sitting around like, everything's going really well.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on here?
Yeah, no, honestly. And then, we have the weigh-ins, obviously, the promoting for the event. What do you think is the most difficult thing? You know, when we have an event lined up, what do you think is like the most difficult thing that fans should know? Like when we're setting up the event and doing everything.
Well, I think fans like, and somebody told me this early on, and I've been a part of Up Next, but I've also done some other events and stuff for other things, right? And just they
You
don't.
sound so cryptic. What other thing? Like what are,
No,
is
so
there anything illegal or anything?
no,
Oh,
not
okay.
like
Just
that.
want to make sure.
No, so for the law enforcement trainings and
just
shit, where we have
kidding.
like 500 to 1,000 cops at these things, and,
Yeah.
and they're always raving like, "Oh, the training was great, the content was great," and like, but behind the scenes, it's a shit show. I think
Yeah.
for the fans, they get to come, they see this great production, they get to see, but they really don't understand. It's like controlled chaos. It's like a controlled shit show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Behind
And
the scenes.
I want to give you your flowers. I know I'm usually talking shit to you on this podcast, although I really respect my dad and he's amazing. But I'm gonna give you your flowers on the branding for UNF events. That's really all him. I help him set it up, but the branding itself, I mean, he obviously works with other people to get everything done, but I think the branding for our events compared to anyone else honestly blows out of the water, and that's all because of you, sir. So
Well, no, I appreciate that. But I think too, Ryan, I think, and I always say this, so I don't want to be all repetitive, but what I will be like, UNF is not hosting shows. We're building a brand. And I think that the way you present your brand is hugely important. You know what I mean? I think our branding is completely on point. Even the top regional shows, the big ones that are on UFC Fight Pass and all these other platforms, they don't even come close to what we do. But I think our vision and our goal is very different than a lot of people, as you know.
yeah, no, 100%. Well, I just think it just looks so good, and not to pat ourselves on the back, but it's an experience when you go in there.
It's
That's
something
due
to
to
be proud of.
the branding and
Well,
everything.
look, too,
and,
I think the difference between us and a lot of other promotions, with Steve and George and the Buckner family, we care about our name,
Yeah.
and we want to be known as the best promotion. We're working there, we're getting there. And when I say best promotion, I'm not saying competition to the UFC. Definitely not what I'm saying. But everybody else, yeah, we want to smoke everybody else but the fucking UFC.
Yeah, no, most definitely. Honestly, we definitely want to do that. Also, the matchmaking for this card was very fun. There were so many good fights and like just so many fights I was looking forward
Bro,
to.
like you asked me, like I give you a lot of credit for making the matches because I don't think people know behind the, like you get all these fighters, oh, I'll fight anybody. I'll take this guy. I want to touch. I want to do this. And
yeah.
they're so picky and choosy with who they want to fight, whether they want to fight 3-minute rounds, 2-minute rounds. Like I really think you and George had the worst job in the promotion, to be honest.
Yeah, it's fun. It's great when the fights go well and the card's amazing. Everyone's like, wow, you killed it. But leading up and having to get these things, contract signed.
The funnest
and
thing
whatnot.
is when you walk into my office, you look at your phone, and you're like, Dad, I need to talk to you.
Well, this guy, and then you're like, what? That doesn't even make sense. I'm like, welcome to my life, man.
No, even the issue you brought to me, like preparing for the next show, the issue you brought to me this morning, like I just shake my head because Ryan, I'm proud of you to deal with that and tolerate some of the things you tolerate. Because on the outside, I think people see me as a really nice guy. I'm really cool, but you play with me or you give me too much of a hassle. Like I'll tell you to go pound sand, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
The patience you have and how you deal with things, I couldn't do your job. I really couldn't.
Yeah. Well, I'll continue doing it. It's all good. But it could be challenging at times. But at the end, the product is always amazing.
Yeah.
Is something going on?
Woo.
Someone got to an
Oh no.
Well, let's keep going, man. What about Leonardo versus Isaac? I
Okay,
mean,
well,
there's such a backstory to
There's
that
a crazy
fight.
storyline to that fight. I mean,
Yeah, tell us, break it down.
Leonardo was already scheduled to fight on the card. Now his opponent had to pull out 2 weeks before the fight. His initial opponent, due to medical issues. So talking to Leonardo, we're trying to get him a last minute replacement. Had a couple names come up, nothing came to fruition.
Well, when you say nothing can wish, you couldn't make any of those fights happen. Nobody wanted them, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they come together. Yeah, they make the fights happen.
Yeah.
So
you failed?
Well, I didn't actually fail in the end. So just wait.
Okay,
Can you hear
all
the
right.
story?
Get to it.
Yeah, I am. A good storyteller doesn't just get straight to the point. You got to
Sorry,
add a
man,
little
sorry.
whatever. Okay, shut up. Anyways, we tried to get him a fight. A couple guys were interested, couldn't make it happen. The day before the weigh-ins.
Wait, but can I take you back again? See, I'm doing the whole back thing. But how cool was Leonardo to deal with? Like with all that.
Oh,
going
he's
back
such
and
like
forth.
a cool dude. He's like has like this zen to him, right? He's so cool. He just really wanted to fight. We were talking almost every day, making sure want him to know, hey, we are working on this and we're
Yeah.
trying our best. But he was all cool. He's like, man, just give me anyone. I just want to fight. I want to perform for you guys. I'm like, I just told him, I was like, We haven't got anyone to lock in yet, but I have this great feeling we are going to keep you on the card. I wasn't even telling you. I wasn't telling you. I was just working on it. And then the day before weigh-ins, I just go up to you. I'm like, hey, I think we can make this happen. Obviously, the serial killer is what you like to call him, Isaac Enriquez, willing to step up on 1 day's notice, up a weight class to fight him.
Well, I think telling the story about Isaac too is really cool because he was supposed to fight for another promotion, right? And at weigh-ins, his opponent came in 15 pounds overweight. So that fight was a scratch.
Yeah, I'm not going to even get more. That fight was a scratch. So I knew he was, he was a fight chip and he's ready. But still, going up a weight class to fight and, fighting Isaac is 4-2 record, fighting a debut guy, not many athletes would do that.
No, honestly, when you brought that forward, I'm like, that was crazy to me because Isaac is a serial killer. Super, super talented, man. Like, wow. Like Leonardo to take that fight. Wow.
All around, just two badasses, right? Like at every stop, every decision they could have made, they were both said, I want to be a badass and did it.
Yeah. And that was a super duper close fight.
That was also, that was one of those fights where it was just.
I think that was one of those ones. One judge could see it one way, somebody could see it differently. You know what I mean? I mean,
no, 100%.
Leonardo came out with the W.
Yeah, no, he did. And, he earned it and deserved it. I thought Isaac also earned it. Listen, there's no losers in up next, man. What are you going to do?
I mean, when we're talking about it, I think Isaac looked, I think he did more damage, obviously. I think
he looked like the more seasoned fighter.
But Leonardo was bringing it. His aggressiveness, just bringing it to him, I think is what won him the fight.
And so the cool thing was, I was watching the fight from my chair, but I could see Leonardo. We let Leonardo's mom sit in the corral for the fight.
Yeah. Oh, dude, she's
I'm like watching her half the time because I love when I get to see, parents or family members so excited for their loved ones fighting.
But Hector brings this lady right in to sit in the corral. I'm like, hey, who's that? Oh, that's Leonardo's mom. I'm like, okay. Wow.
And then after the fight, when he did get the win, and she came in and said a couple things on the mic, you could just see how proud she was of him. And it's cool that we're letting these people letting them have those kind of moments, right?
Yeah, look, it was really, really cool. I mean, getting to meet Leonardo's mom, she was very cool, big part of it. Liam's dad was there, so getting to meet him and seeing how proud he was of Liam, it's definitely inspiring.
Yeah, no, it definitely was. It was really cool that they got that moment. It was just crazy how that fight came together, honestly.
No, really last minute. But it goes to show Isaac Enriquez, what kind of person he is, what kind of person Leonardo is, all these other people. Oh, I need to know who my opponent is weeks in advance. I have to prep. I have to do this. I have to do that, which cool. That works for them. But then you get two dudes like this that know really nothing about each other. Well, you couldn't know anything about Leo. Isaac, there's plenty of tape out there. And Leonardo having enough confidence to fight somebody like Isaac. Wow.
We need to do something nice for them.
Yeah.
I think we're going to do this. We're going to get them both pictures blown up of themselves, action shots from the fight.
Yeah, I think
we're going to give it to them. They deserve it for that. Well, this was an all Rising Stars show, right? You had two real Rising Stars that were literally just turned 18 recently on the card. Isaac Vasquez, who fought a guy with experience who's a good fighter, in Gregor, came out with the victory.
Well, again, I'm sorry, I'm kind of repeating, but Isaac to fight Gregor, I still thought that's a tough fight to take.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. But these guys want to get the work. He actually fought up a weight class too, by the way.
Really?
I think he could fight at both, but he wanted to fight at 55 initially.
Yeah.
Same day weigh-ins, all that. So he fought at 170. But to fight a guy who has 6 fights, who trains at Timoyama, who is, doesn't have the best record optic when you just look at it, but he is a good fighter.
Gregor is
He's
a good
seasoned
fighter.
Good fighter.
Yep.
He's good everywhere. That's no easy fight for someone that's 7-0 or whatever, right?
Yeah.
He is no walk in the park. As an 18-year-old to take that fight, it's very impressive. And then to have the composure and to work the way he did in the fight and then get the W was really impressive.
His composure, but also his skills, Ryan. You
see that left high kick? That high kick was looking sick.
I was impressed. Talking to his coaches, they're like, this kid's such a good kid, super talented. He's all in on this.
Well, I'm working on a fight for him right now because he wants to go on March again also.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. It's really kind of neat to see these young kids being so talented. How long has he been training? Do you have any clue? I think his coach told me only a few years.
Yeah, only a few years. I think I sat down with him at Content Day. I sat down with a lot of people.
Such a mellow guy, too.
He is. He's very soft-spoken, but he's a killer in the cage. But I sat down with him, and I believe he was getting beat up by his siblings when he was younger or whatever. And then he started going to jiu-jitsu.
Sound familiar when Kobe used to beat you up?
Oh, Kobe never beat me up, no.
No?
He used to beat me up with words, but I think I used to handle him with the...
This is true, actually. He would win the verbal.
Oh, I remember it used to
battles.
make me cry all the time, and I hate to be a grown man on camera admitting to this right now, but it was true. And then I would like maybe hit him and make him cry, and then I'd start crying that he's crying. I used to be a little
No, I
soft baby.
remember, yeah,
I used to be a little crybaby
no.
back in the day.
I remember you would hit him. He'd get upset. Mom would come in. You'd cry because your brother was crying.
So I always loved him, even when I hit him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but back to Isaac. So I think he said he started training MMA.
Yeah.
Didn't even like it, but just kept going to it.
Yeah.
Started sparring, started doing good against like older guys and grown men and stuff. And he's like, oh, I'm pretty good at this. And that's when he kind of fell in love with it. And now he wants it to be a career for himself.
Yeah. Listen, I think that guy's definitely got a bright future. You got to get him on the March card for sure.
Well, I'm trying to match up with someone like, also pretty young, promising career ahead of him. So it could be a sick fight to make. We'll see. But there was another 18-year-old on the card, Edward Zarabian, who does
Whoa.
not look like. Well, he's been training since he was 3 years old, by the way, and it looked like it. He's only 18, but he's a beast.
Listen, that's his MMA debut. And I don't know what his history is with kickboxing, but to fight David Marquez, 3-time kickboxing champion, like that's a big fight for your debut.
Oh, it is. I mean, look how he looked in that fight. And I think the world of David, too.
Yeah,
I think the world, I think any given night, like I think he's still one of the top guys out there. Like
sure.
he really is. But, that night, Edward just looked like he was on another level. It was kind of crazy to see that from an 18-year-old.
And just to see his calm, cool composure, you know what I mean? He just was calm. He was cool in there. He wasn't intimidated in any way, shape, or form by
It
those
didn't look
big
like
lights.
it was his first fight, right? I mean, maybe he's had kickboxing experience and whatnot, but 18-year-old under the UNF lights, a little different than what you do when you compete as a 15-year-old or 16-year-old in these tournaments, right? Looked like he's been there before and a couple times.
No, it really does. I mean, a few fights in, you could see that guy doing big things, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Those spinning kicks he did, like some of the other stuff, like, wow.
Yeah. Let's talk about what's next for some of the guys on the card, right? Like that had really good performances. I mean, Attila the Killer, he wants his next fight. He wants to go for double champ status and go down to 45. How do you feel about that?
No, I like that. And that would be against who?
Gregor. Sorry, Gregor. Griffin Rodriguez.
That's right.
He's our current 145 champion. I love that fight because I keep saying Gregor. Gregor, you're stuck in my head right now.
Because Gregor just fought.
I know, and I kept saying his name. Griffin Rodriguez is a seasoned kickboxer as well. Very good kickboxer, very tactical and everything. Technical. And then Attila, who's also technical, but was looking for the kill shot at all times. I'm going to try to make that fight. I think that's a fight to make, and I can't wait.
That is just the opposite, like, personalities right there, too.
Oh, yeah.
Attila's, like, kind of aggressive, gangstery, like, in your face.
I like
this and
Attila's
that.
dance. He does just something.
Yeah, I can't even do that. But Griffin is just, like, such a laid-back, calm, chill type of guy. I really like that fight.
Yeah, I'm going to try to make that one for our May show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, look, I really like that. I think Attila's got a very bright future. Griffin's got a bright future. I mean, the stable of rising stars is just crazy. The talent
No, it is.
pool.
The talent pool is nuts, right? And these guys are all going to be going pro kind of soon. And it's cool because we, like you always say, we're going to have the baby pictures, but we're really building them from the ground up. You're going to see a lot of these guys be household names one day. I'm serious.
Yeah, I mean,
awesome.
I would really tell you, even dudes that were on this last card, that some of these guys, are going to make it to the UFC. No doubt in my mind.
Who's going to make it to the UFC? If you had to choose one fighter on the roster, I think multiple are, right? I think a lot of guys have the...
Okay, Desmond Alvarado, most definitely. He's going to hopefully make his pro debut with us in May. Pargev, no-brainer, going to make it to the UFC. I mean, those two dudes alone, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Come on, there's a couple more.
There's a lot more.
Name them then.
Oh,
Who else do you think?
Hamza Trad is going to make it to the UFC.
100%. Hamza's now 1-0 as a pro, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, 2-0, 1-0.
Is he 2-0? 1-0.
I don't know. A lot of names, a lot of records to remember.
Listen,
for a
my brain
matchmaker.
is still fried from the event on Saturday, bro. It takes me actually like
I'm still walking with a limp.
a few days to recuperate.
Yeah. No, but a lot of the Rising Stars guys, I love seeing the Rising Stars fights. And our Rising Stars, you can't even tell if they're pros or Rising Stars. You know?
Yeah, no, there is just so many dudes that I think have bright futures. But I think it goes back, like when we sat down with Chad George, like a lot of these guys have the skill set, but they've got to have that mindset. Like Edward is another kid, only 18. If he stays the path and stays focused and keeps his passion for the sport at 18 years old, what's this kid going to look like in 5 years from now at 23?
I just don't. I wouldn't want to fight him. That's for sure. But yeah, no, he's gonna. But that you're right though. It's staying the course. It's mentally being strong and really just staying on that path. Because becoming a UFC fighter, or really making this career it's a hard thing. You gotta get through a lot of hurdles and be willing to go through the grind. And
Yeah.
I think a lot of these guys have potential to really get to that top of the sport if they continue to do that.
Yeah. Well, I think already 2.5 years in is up next. You've seen guys kind of that were with us at the beginning who aren't really doing this anymore, who have lost the love and the passion. So it's
Yeah.
something that they've got to keep and they've got to maintain. And in today's world, to be competitive, you've got to have a love and a passion. You got to be in that gym every single fucking day if you want to make it to the big show.
Yeah, no, 100%. Well, you're going to see some UNF guys. We sent a couple, but you're going to see a
Yeah.
lot more
Yeah,
with the
Taco
years
is-
to come.
Taco's going to have his, third UFC fight. He's fighting in London very shortly here. So super excited about that.
Yeah, no, me too.
Yeah.
Go Taco. He's going to
Dude.
go 3-0 in the UFC.
Yeah.
And he's like the
And then you got, El Mariachi. Javi's going to fight for the Cage Warrior title in London also. So we'll see. I mean, there's some big stuff going for the UNF alumni, bro.
Oh, there definitely is. Going to keep it going there. Taco's going to get he's going to be 3-0.
For sure.
Javier's going to go handle business as well. Yeah, it's exciting stuff. Should we talk about the March show a little bit, or should we?
Well, I mean, we still got Jonathan Winland.
Oh, we do have Jonathan Winland.
I always say Winland. It's Wineland.
Is it?
It's Wineland, I think. Yeah.
Oh, I think
I
always say
always
Winland.
mispronounce it too. And he just looks at me and shakes his head like, let's call him Jonathan.
Okay, Jonathan. There's not much to talk about, but he did land a freaking crazy right hand on.
Yeah.
on the
Against the
bank.
bank.
A
Yeah.
little early of a stoppage. What'd you think about the stoppage?
So I go back and forth, right? That night, I thought it was a good stoppage. Now that I've watched it, on Instagram, looked a little quick because it looked to me to be a flash knockdown. The bank got right up, bro. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. How do you feel?
I liked the stoppage. I mean, it looked early. I thought it was a little early. But at the end of the day, also when the rising stars, you don't want them to take too
Yeah.
much damage. And
Yep.
who knows how well he was really recovered. He did bounce up right away, but if he was still dazed and wobbled when he got up and he got hit with one more of those, the damage could have been worse. So I'm not against it.
I always go back. I forget which fight it was, but there was a fight where I thought the ref, did an early stoppage. And then when I watched the tape back, the guy's eyes rolled back in his head, which I didn't see the night of.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, that was a great stoppage. So, I try not to question the stoppages too much because you're not in there. You don't see what the ref sees.
Yeah. But I mean, it was a sick punch by Jonathan.
Man, the house erupted, bro. People went freaking nuts after
Yeah.
that.
No, it was.
Yeah, the crowd
Jonathan
was
just-
pretty intense.
Yeah, and Jonathan just has that one punch power, right? Like you may watch him fight. I mean, we had Marcos on. Like he says he's the guy that you don't think he's gonna pull off every fight
Yeah.
and win how he does. But
Yep.
when you got that freaking power in that right hand, man,
Look, and
there's-
he's got this aura, this demeanor to him, this calm, cool, just
he has,
whole persona to
he has
him.
the mean look to him too, right? Like a guy
He
you don't
does it,
want
but
to
he's a
mess with.
fucking super nice guy. Like even when I was talking to him before the fight, we are talking about. He goes, "Yeah, of course I'm nervous, man. I always get nervous. I'm always worried. It's a fight, like." So, but outside, you'd never think the dude was nervous because he's
Yeah.
cool as a cucumber.
Well, Jonathan really, the crowd was going crazy when that happened, and everyone's trying to jump over the freaking barricades and go crazy
Oh my
and do all
God.
this.
Listen,
That's a challenge at times, to be honest.
especially when we got like several Armenian fighters on the car. I mean, that crowd. Listen, and I love every bit of it, because they are in the cage. They're with their fighter. There's so much passion, that these fans.
No, and
have
I
for their
love it too.
athletes.
But when they're jumping over the corral, the
Listen,
seats and stuff, it's a little crazy.
The biggest laughable point of the whole night for me, you got Hector that works with us, 6'3", 325 pounds. He goes, "Kris, these kids won't listen to me." It's like 30 Armenian little kids. They're coming because one of their coaches in the cage. I'm like, "Can you guys just please back up, get behind those, please?" And they all freaking listen. You know what I mean?
No,
But Hector was intimidated by 30 little kids.
listen,
I don't know.
30 kids might be able to take
Look,
you,
I
bro.
loved those kids. Were freaking
It's also-
awesome.
it's
They were
amazing-
having so much fun.
Well, it's
man.
amazing for the kid. Like, it's hard for us too, right? Because I want every fan there to really get the best experience they can,
Yeah.
feel important, and just have the best night of their lives. With also running a professional thing, where
Yeah.
you can't cross the line too much. But I let two of the kids go in when I forgot who won, but I took them
Good.
back out, and their dad came up to me after the event. He's like, "Listen, you made my kids' night. You made their year. I really appreciate you." So we try our best to let them, do what they want to do, but we also got to keep it professional at the
Yeah,
same
no,
time.
it was cool because the Mando program was out at the event. There's 10 kids, the at-risk youth. Mando runs a program, and so it was really cool. So they got to come watch the event, so we could let them inside the corral to take a bunch of pictures and stuff. And I think it's important for a promotion to give back to the fans and try to make a little positive difference. Because what would we as a promotion be without the support of our fans? Like we wouldn't be shit. So I think we need to give back when we can give back. But, to all of you like little kids out there, please don't intimidate Hector anymore.
Yeah, no,
he gets
come on.
scared of you guys.
Yeah, no.
Dude, you should have seen him though. He's all like freaked out, and these kids like
I know.
listen in a heartbeat.
H2's the best. But I know he gets all worked up. The kids, they're
They're
not
not
going
listening.
back.
They're not listening. Oh yeah, it was so funny. But I love it, man. I think we have to worry when we don't have passionate crowds like that. I mean, it freaks me out a little bit, but we had people standing on chairs and security had to like go and tell them to sit down and all that. But I think especially, I like to call these smaller, like, we got to name them, but I think it should be called our Fight Club series or something. But small, intimate venues like that's kind of cool like that.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, they're not going to be our big cards. We have so many fights, but there is a different energy in those smaller arenas, to be honest.
Well, let's talk about that. I mean, our card previous is there were 20 freaking fights.
Yeah.
Right? This one was 11. I really like having 11 fights. It was really nice. Listen, bro, I think we finished the event by 11 p.m., which was super nice.
Yeah, no, for sure. And also the lead up for the event, too. It's like having to deal with 22 fighters as opposed to 44 fighters. I love all the fighters, but it makes it a lot easier only dealing with 22, to be honest. But yeah, no, I actually like those. I just love this last weekend's event. I thought it went so smooth.
Yeah.
Were there any hiccups that you thought happened that you want to maybe discuss or talk about, like throughout the UNF 22 process of anything?
Listen, if people knew behind the scenes, like the shit show, our cage girls, went to the Commerce Casino instead of coming to the right venue. Our security team went to the Burbank Marriott instead of the Woodland Hills Marriott. Like, what else could have gone wrong, Ryan?
No. Well, actually, that's probably compared to other events. This is a walk in the park for what went wrong. We were all good.
Yeah.
If anything, we would have had you take a ring sign and walk around the ring. We would have been fine.
Yeah. The fans really would have loved that. Oh, no.
Yeah. But there's just so much stuff that goes on that people don't get to see.
Yeah, man. Behind the scenes, I think it's really, really fun, though. You know what I mean? Just seeing that control chaos. I thought what was really cool about this event was the production, right? I thought the LED lights on the stage looked amazing. I thought, because when you do it at a ballroom, it's just not as impressive as like at a big casino or something
High
like
ceilings,
that.
all that.
But you got to give a shout out to Steve and our production team, Omar and those guys and Jeff, really just doing a great job making that show look great. The other thing that I thought was on point, because I've rewatched the event now, because, when you're sitting there watching the event, you don't get to hear the commentary. But wow, was our commentary team on point. I got to rewatch everything. Todd, John, and Kris, dude, best in the business. I'm telling you.
No, honestly, I've been preaching that for a long time. You have too, but Todd, John, and Kris has started doing some more shows, but Kris is amazing too. And those three together, I think they're truly the best in the business. Well, I might be biased because, Well,
you should be biased. This is your company. But I think what's cool about those dudes is they know the fighters. So they're able to talk about the fighters, their backgrounds, if their parents are in attendance. Like,
no, it's amazing.
It's really, really cool because I think it personalizes the shows.
What is your initial feeling after we complete an event, right? You do the build up, you do the matchmaking, you do the promoting. After the event's done, we have a kick-ass night. What is your feeling?
Bro, I'm on a high.
Me too.
I'm on such a freaking high. Like, this is bad. I hope that the CHP is not listening, but like an idiot, I'm driving home because I can never stay at the venue the night of. I want to go home and lay in my bed. But I'm on the phone scrolling through Instagram, just looking at the highlights and the comments, and like I'm addicted.
Yeah.
I think we ended the event at 11 a.m. I think we finished cleanup by 12:30 or so. So maybe 1:15 we were home. Bro, I don't think I went to bed till like 2:30 because I was like stuck on Instagram reading the comments, and man, I'm just on a high.
Yeah, no, I feel the same way. After it's like, damn, I get to do this for a living. This is a life, right? Obviously there's the headaches and everything, but it's really cool to get to do stuff we love, and but once the event finishes, you just feel it more, right? Like, you're so grateful for the fighters you get to work with, the events you get to put on, and you're just so happy about it.
Yeah, but leading up to the events, like, oh, I got to do this bullshit.
It's like,
I got to deal with this.
Why did I choose to do this? God. But then after right? Like, then you're just like so grateful for the event you just put on, getting to work with the fighters you get to work with. And
I mean, think about it from your perspective though. You're 27 years old. You're like the youngest in the fight game doing this. If you think,
yeah, it was really cool too because a lot of people. I think now I'm just way more well known in the industry as far as being one of the matchmakers. Owner of Up Next, whatever. But a lot more people are coming up to me now. It's kind of cool. Someone asked me to take a picture with them at the event, which rarely ever happened to me. But it's just cool that everyone's kind of starting to see it and to feel it. But a lot of people came up to me like, dude, these are some of the best matches we've ever seen for Rising Stars amateur show. You're really killing it. You're really doing a good job, and it's just nice to see because we put so much work into really try to give the best product that we can. It's not like a pat on the stuff like, oh, I'm so happy, but it's cool for people to see that we're putting the work in.
I don't think none of our family are the type like, oh, look at me or pat me on the back and this and that. But
you.
Well, sometimes, yeah, that's true.
That's only between us.
That's just between you and I, because half the time I have to do your job, and when I do your job, I want the pat on the back.
That's such bullshit. All right.
No, but I think the cool thing is, like, nobody in our organization, nobody is looking for those pats on the back. But it is really nice when the fans and people really acknowledge, what we're doing and see our vision and really appreciate what we're doing. Because there are days this is thankless in a way, right? If you don't stay focused on helping these, fighters, build their brand and building this platform and stay focused on your ultimate goal, it can be disheartening at times. It's a tough business.
Yeah, but after that event, it was just all worth it.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk a little bit about March 1st.
March 1st. Well, if you guys, there's like we're talking about
weeks
headaches.
Away.
Talked about headaches and shit going wrong and everything. Had to switch our event from March 8th to March 1st.
Yeah.
Due to circumstances that are out of our control, obviously.
Yeah.
Just it is what it is. But now we're going a week before March 1st.
Yeah.
But the card is still going to be a mega card. I'm so excited for it.
Yeah, I worry about the card because between you and George, it is going to be another mega card.
Why are you worried about that?
It's a lot of fights. It's a long night. I mean, it's fun because they're super entertaining fights. But I mean, look, at the end of the day, I love what we do, but
I love what we do too. Should we talk about some of the fights on the card? Because I have one I want to talk about that we haven't announced
let's
yet.
talk about it. I mean, it was a bummer because Commerce has some construction that has to be done. So we had this booked for, March 8th. All of a sudden, last week we get told we have to move it. So we go March 1st.
What's amazing though is most of the fighters are good to go. At least the guys I'm talking to and ready to go and just like, let's do it. Whatever we got to do. Already made a couple new fights for the card, but there's one fight I do want to highlight. Pargev Kachachian versus Zane Palacio 2. Running it back for, obviously, the UNF Rising Stars flyweight title and then the Camo State title. Now, for people who didn't watch the first fight, Pargev won in the second round by TKO. Zane's team and their side just thought the fight got stopped way too early, and it was a horrible stoppage. Just how they feel.
Yeah.
They wanted to run it back. Pargev agrees to run it back, and now they're running it back.
Listen, Ian was like through the roof because he thought it was a quick stoppage. He was pissed. So it's kind of cool that they get to go again.
No, it really is, right? Like, because I get it. I'm not going to comment on whether I thought it was a bad stoppage or not, but for fighters to put so much work in with 2 titles on the line and you feel like it's kind of taken from you and there maybe is some validity to it, you want to give them the other shot, and that's what's happening now.
Well, as a rising star, is there anything bigger? The UNF belt and the state championship belt. So Zane wanting to get that back, I get it, because if you're going to lose a fight, you want it to be very black and white that you lost. And I think the way Ian and Zane feel, like it's like a gray area thing. They don't feel like that stoppage was fair.
Yeah. Well, luckily, I'm doing my job. I'll give the fans what they want. I give the fighters what they want. Both guys were down for the fight.
What did Pargev say when you threw this back at him?
So Pargev doesn't have the best English, but I could communicate with him. But Ryan, what's going on? Hey, I think we should do the same rematch. Brother, let's go. I'll fight anyone. I don't care. Give me this guy. This guy talked too much. I'm going to show him another lesson.
Well, he just posted what was pretty interesting. I don't know if you know, Pargev just posted, like, he posted Rayshawn losing to Zane in the armbar, and then he writes revenge, and then he posts like him beating.
Well, Pargev
Zane.
thinks that Zane talks a little too much trash.
Yeah.
And he's expressed that to me, and I'm like, listen, I think Zane's been totally respectful.
Me too.
Went anywhere, but
I like Zane a lot.
Pargev, he's just one of those guys that, let's not talk trash. Let's compete. I'm going to smash you. I'm going to let my fighting do the talking. Keep it at that. So when anyone talks shit about Pargev, he gets really worked up. So I think you can see a little different side of Pargev in this one too, right? Just a little more fired up.
Yeah.
And wants to really prove to Zane that, hey, that first time, nothing controversial about it, and show him again. Now Zane's going to come with even more vengeance, right? Because he's going to be like, I can't let that kind of thing happen. I got to be in control of this fight to make sure
Yeah, you got to see
again.
how that's going to go, because, Zane has now already been in that cage with Pargev, and so now he knows what it's like to go against him. So it's not like an unknown thing anymore.
I'm more excited about it this time around than I was before.
Me too, because I think Zane is going to be even more prepared for Pargev. Pargev, again, I believe is just on another level than most guys. But again, it's MMA, bro.
It is MMA.
You never know what can happen.
You never know what can happen. No, but I think that's what I love about the sport. Like, I mean, just talk about it again. Jason Granado versus Attila. You could not foresee that happening.
Listen, people will keep talking about that. Like, I'm going to check this now and see how many views we have on that.
Yeah, check that.
Well, that was such a great fight. Let's see. What do you think? What do you think it's going to be?
I think last time I checked, it was like 4,700 shares. I'm going off shares, maybe
So you're
50.
focusing on shares. Let's see.
Well, I think if you know anything about, go ahead.
5,900 shares.
Woo!
Almost 6,000 shares over like about 150,000 views.
Yeah. Well, all the comments, everyone's like, wow, round of the year, round of the year.
Yeah.
I don't think they're just talking about UNF either. I think they're talking about fucking any fight you watch.
Yeah.
And these are two rising stars, man.
It's crazy how guys could be that talented and not be professionals. You know, so that's what I think excites me even more for the future, because in the next year, our stable of pros is going to be second to none.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about it. We have so many good guys about to go pro.
No, definitely. But they're getting the pro level experience, pro level platform as rising stars. So they're smart to be taking these fights and doing them as rising stars.
Well, the cool thing is, man, they're now going to be used to those bright lights. You know what I mean? So it's not going to be intimidating when they have to come in and get interviews as pros or see the bright lights. They've already been there and they've already done that. This is how they've, quote unquote, grown up in the game.
Yeah. No, definitely. But like back to what you said, anything could happen. And that's why I think everyone loves the sport of MMA, right? And MMA is the fastest growing sport in the world. Is you just never know. One punch, one kick.
Look, I'm going to say Granado and Attila. That's another thing.
Yeah.
One punch could change.
Well, I think you're going to have a
everything.
lot of WTF moments on the March card as well. I mean,
Think
this
so?
last week, yeah, I mean, I think the energy from this last show is going to just carry straight over to March.
You know what's pretty cool? It's like we're going 3 weeks apart too. So which is
It's very cool. It's a lot of
quick
work,
turnaround.
but it's
Yeah, it's a quick
great.
turnaround. But you know what? We're gonna ride this high. I mean, we're coming off such a high. I mean, social media is freaking blowing up. I think, you know, it's just crazy. The comments and kind of what's going on.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, I want to switch topics, but I want to ask you, what's your least favorite thing about working with me?
I actually don't have anything.
Shut up.
No, listen, bro. Like,
What?
if I'm being real, you know, and we can air it out on the podcast. That's one of the reasons why we started. Like, though, Ryan, I'll give you shit, and there may be times where you feel I'm unhappy or not satisfied with you. I'm super proud of it. Sorry.
Oh.
I'm super proud of you, fucking dick. I'm super proud of you as a dad and seeing your journey and being able to be a part of your success. It's really cool.
No, I really feel that. I think that's also why we, you know, obviously couldn't do any of this stuff without you, but even starting the Fight Family podcast and keeping this thing as a family, because I love the dynamic of working with you, although at times I don't even know if you're sad, but it's challenging. It's rough, but I know you have my back and you want to see me succeed. And I don't think I'd be where I'm at today without your guidance and without you helping me. And us doing this thing together.
I've been in business 30 years doing my normal grind in this. I know for a fact I'm not the easiest person to work with, but I'm very driven. You know what I mean? I don't want to end up in second place. I want to win.
You make me cry looking at you cry, man.
Oh, sorry.
Come on, bro.
Well, look, I get a little teary-eyed. I mean,
No, I know.
Listen, I mean, if you're a good parent, which I'm not perfect, I said good parent. I think overall I'm a good parent. You want your kids to be successful. So to be able to be on this journey with you and see your success and see you grow, it's actually pretty inspiring for me. You know what I mean? It's kind of cool to be on the journey with you. A lot of, you know, fathers and sons don't get to work together and build together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And to be as close to you as I am, it's actually pretty special. We share a bond that, you know, not a lot of fathers and sons really share. If you think about it, Ryan, you've sat down, you've interviewed so many fighters, and think about the percentage of fighters who grew up without fathers.
I mean, and I'm grateful every day to have a dad like you, right? Like someone who has my back, I can do all these things with, and want, not only because you have to, but you genuinely want me to succeed, and you want to be the great father that you are. And a lot of people don't have that, you know, and every day I'm grateful for that, you know. And I'll put some shine on Mama too, because Mama's just like you.
Listen, your mom is the best, bro. Listen, you're not gonna find, you know, though I have my disagreements with your mom, but you're not gonna find a better mother that has your back and is more loving than your mother, bro.
Yeah, she's a little crazy, but that's so true.
No, for sure she's crazy. I mean, for you only get to see the good side. I get to see all sides. So yeah, she's definitely crazy, but as a mother, you are completely blessed.
No, I feel grateful. That's why I love doing UNF as a family. I love having a podcast called
even working with Miriam and Kobe is okay.
Of course, man. Like that's how you guys raised us, and even like I think the Fight Family, like why we call it the Fight Family.
I drive Miriam nuts, bro. Like you and I think kind of think alike, and we're sort of on that same thing. But you know, with Miriam, she just is on a different level sometimes. Like calm, cool, slow down, sort of thing.
Yeah, no, definitely. But it's very cool. Like I was getting back, like even calling the podcast the Fight Family. We could have came up with many different names.
Yeah.
But I think we want to show people like, we're actually a family doing all these things, right? Like we're doing
Yeah.
everything together. It's
No, I mean, I think the Fight Family podcast was the perfect name. And I think, it's, the Buckner family, like we're together and we're thick as thieves. But honestly, if you think about it, like these fighters want to be a part of this family too. And when you sit them down, you talk, that's something that they love about UNF and what we as a promotion have brought to the table, where we make them feel part of a
I
fight
think
family.
out of like, I don't know how many fighters have fought for us, but I think I'm ballparking around like 300 fighters, probably 350 for 2.5 years in existence. I'm sure like 10 or 15% of those call you pops when they see you.
Yeah.
It's a really cool thing to see, honestly, because of the way you treat them and the way we treat them as an organization. But they
I
really
don't
feel
think
like
they
they're
realize the impact they have on me. To be honest with you, because when they DM me, thank you, you make us feel so special. We know you're doing more than you need to do. A lot of these guys, I'll probably tell you, I got at least, I would say 50 DMs after this event, at least 50, right? From fighters, others, just saying like how special they feel. They feel blessed to be a part of what we have going. And so for me, being the old ass dude that I am, it's actually really inspiring, to get those DMs and to be a part of it,
Yeah. Well, I think you're also self-made, and I think you can see yourself a lot. And like, listen, we're talking about you and Mom. You guys have provided a great life for us. Where you've always taught us to grind, but I think when you speak to these fighters, you're self-made. You didn't come up the best way, and I think you see a lot of yourself in these fighters, and you're really trying to help them on their path and their journey as well. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
can see that with you and how you help them, and I think they can feel that and see that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, and I mean, that's really true. I didn't come up, I was never given anything in my life, but I think, one thing that, I've tried to do is just understand that, one person can make a positive difference in somebody's life. And
Yeah.
it could be just something little, making them, feel special or whatever. And I think that part of Up Next, that's what we were built on. And so I think from the moment they're dealing with you making the match, or Sherelle, or anybody, Miriam, anybody part of the team, they're made to feel important. And I think that's really, in today's shitty world, I think it's a really bright spot
People
for
are
UNF
just
to be
getting
that
worse
way.
and worse, right? Like people just as humans just fucking getting worse
Dude,
and
the
worse.
lack of respect that people have for each other. I mean, look, the world is not all bad, but there's so many people just feel it's okay to disrespect people or not be thankful or not be appreciative. You know what I mean? And so it's just so nice to deal with people that are thankful and that are appreciative.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, especially after this last event, I got more DMs than ever. Like, it was just so much more, even more inspiring. Like, I just feel like we hit another level after this event.
No, I do too. And even the fighters, so like I'll bring up Leonardo, we talked about how his fight got made 1 day's notice, but his post-fight interview when he got on the mic and you heard all the nice things he said about us, when he could have been like, like we didn't give him a fight till the day before. Obviously we were working hard, but other people would be like, they should have got me a fight before. Like, what is it? But he knew how hard we were working. He was so appreciative and only wants to fight with us because of the way we treated him, made him feel. Attila Eric called me like pretty much in tears, but like saying, I want to say thank you to you and your family. This is a dream come true for me. And even the guys that are taking L's still will reach out and say how much they appreciate us for giving them a platform and making them feel special, making them feel, a part of something bigger than.
Yeah, so they take an L on the record, Ryan, but I don't feel like they take an L in the big picture of things. In my view, like, I mean, they're showcasing their skills, and I think the way that the UNF fans are too, they just appreciate everybody that gets in there and does it. You know what I mean?
I mean, you watch those fights on last Saturday. If you can't appreciate that, then don't watch MMA anymore.
Dude, like those fights, wow. Well, okay, so let's talk about like fight of the night. Any other awards that you feel are
If I
deserved
had it
because of
my
that
way,
night?
I wish we could give out more, but I don't like giving out too many because then they
Takes away
lose
from
a
the
little
value.
of value,
Yeah.
right? But I wish I could give out more. But off the top of my head right now, I would go with 2 fight of the nights and probably a knockout of the night.
Okay.
I want to see if you know what I'm thinking. Start with 1 fight of the
Well,
night.
I mean, it's a no-brainer, the number one fight of the night.
Fight of the
No-brainer.
year.
Yeah, fight of the year. I mean, that's Attila and Jason. Like, you have to give it to that, even though barely lasted, didn't even last the first round.
Didn't need to last any longer. Honestly,
Bro, but that was
fucking
so
amazing.
high level and just such an amazing fight. So obviously, fight of the night right there. But
Another one.
Jada and Carly.
Yes.
Jada and Carly have to get also fight of the night.
And then knockout of the night. But it was actually, I want to give it, but you know what I'm talking about, obviously.
I don't know. You tell me. Which one?
Jonathan
Yeah.
Winland. Jonathan
Yeah.
Winland? Is that it?
Wineland,
Wineland?
I think.
Are you sure?
I think it's Wineland.
Okay, Jonathan Wineland. I mean, the punch was so clean, but then, the bang did get up. And so, I don't know. But all the fights were so good and so
Yeah.
close. Like, I want to give an award to Isaac and Leonardo. First of all, it was a great fight. I think it was just a smidge under, the other two fights we talked about as far as earning fight of the night. But
when you
considering the circumstances of
former
it,
champion, 1 day's notice, debut, like there's so much to freaking talk about. You know what I mean?
yeah, no, it's nuts.
Yeah, look, I mean, with the KO, I could see that. I could see that.
Anything else I'm missing? What else would you?
Look, Jorge Ortega's submission of Danny was clean.
Yeah,
also,
we didn't really
bro.
talk about that. The People's Champ, Danny. I mean, it didn't go his way that night, but for Jorge Ortega to do that against someone like Danny,
Bro.
Danny has fought some of the best talent, right? Whether wins or losses. Like, he went 3 rounds with Desmond Alvarado, who's like 11-0 as a rising star who just turned pro. 3 rounds in a competitive fight, and you got George Ortega who finished the fight in 20 seconds.
This is the thing too. Like, and granted, I've never seen any tape on Jorge. Never seen tape, but what's his record?
He was 1-3.
So you got a guy 1-3 record going against a guy like Daniel Lopes. I would have never expected that.
And he's a striker. He finished with a guillotine. I love this sport, man. I mean, I felt
that was so slick what he pulled off. And it's so funny because Cody Sessions afterwards, like, look at me. Yeah, they think we're just strikers, bro. We showed them that was the plan.
Yeah.
Like, that's the plan going against a top jiu-jitsu guy like Danny. The plan's to submit him. Come on, Cody. I like that.
Yeah.
Like, you got to give it to that team.
I don't know if that was a plan, but
Listen,
we'll see.
Cody, I think, said that was the plan.
I think they definitely worked when Danny was going to
Cody's
shoot.
gym has something to prove in a way. Like, everybody thinks they're just strikers. And I feel like by getting a finish like that, he's like, you all are on notice.
I believe. Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah.
And they did put everyone on notice with that. And the plan was probably, to defend the takedown. If he gets deep, you got to throw the guillotine up, and that's what he did. And honestly, it was amazing. I did not see that going that way whatsoever. Because Jorge, yes, Jorge, great striker. Honestly, amazing striking. He'd want to keep on the feet, but hey, I don't think anyone's going to really shoot on him like that anymore. You know what I mean?
Look, Cody Sessions has a lot to be proud of. Jorge got the win. Jason Granado did not get the win, but again, fight of the night, great freaking performance. Like, I think they walked out of that place with their head high.
No, I texted him this morning too and just hit him up saying, hey, really appreciate you and all your fighters, W or Ls. We appreciate you guys. You guys are all high level and just amazing to work with. And he sent me a nice message back, and I think they're very happy with the platform that we're providing. But he's like, hey, we're coming. Wins or losses, we're gonna put on fucking sick performances for you guys, and our guys are like the shit. And I was like, your guys are the shit, man.
Yeah,
they are. Yeah. Everyone's a shit though. Honestly, I love working with the talented fighters that we're working with, right? Because we're really working with the best guys out there.
Yeah, I think we're really blessed, man. We're working with a lot of the best gyms. You know what I mean? And let's talk about Victory MMA. Aaron, like
Aaron's a man. Such a fucking good, great guy to work with.
Very good guy. And what I really like about him, his energy, his positivity. Like, he's just a great guy. Like, I really have a lot of respect for him.
It's cool because, like, we do a lot for the fighters on the regional scene, but, like, every time I talk to him or whatever, he's always saying thank you, and he's always meaning it. You know what I mean? Like, he was so grateful and appreciative for what we're doing. And go ahead.
No, your mom and I were talking, because after an event, everyone, oh, you guys own the promotion, like, they try to kiss up to you or whatever. Like, and, so we were just talking, like, how you could tell real ones from fake ones.
Yeah.
Those fake ones that tell you what they think you want to hear, and then real ones. Aaron is just such a real one. You feel it, you know it. It's just there.
Yeah. Same with some of the fans. Like, oh, you guys own up next. That's amazing. Can I get some tickets to the next fight?
Hey, that's gotta drive you crazy, right? The day of, people hitting you up for tickets, like an hour before. So, I know you're busy.
If I showed you my phone the day of, I also get to a point where, like, if I see like it's a friend or something, because everyone knows. Like, I've told everyone, if you want to talk to me about the event, like as far as getting tickets or discounted tickets or whatever it may be, talk to me a week in advance. I'm not dealing with it the same day. So I'll just get text. I'll see kind of who it's from or whatever. Phone down.
See,
phone down.
Phone down. I've learned from you because I used to answer those texts. I used to do that. And then fight day, I look at who it is. And if it's not that event related, don't even answer.
If it's not a fighter or coach or something I need to answer, it's like, I'm not dealing with this right now because we got so many other things going on.
No, this is true. I don't think people realize like how many hats we wear. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, why you work the KGR? Why you doing that? I'm like, we have to. It's like, we have a good sized team, but to run an organized event like that, it's crazy. Like, one of the security guys that worked with us, he worked at other big regional events before. He's like, wow, you guys run the best event out of all these people that I've worked at. It takes a lot of hard work, but it takes people that are really dedicated. But it's not like we've got like 20 people like running the event for
No,
us.
it's me, you, Hector, Roy.
Hector, Roy.
Shout out Roy too. Roy's H2 also, but Roy is just he kind of came on board a little later than Hector, but it's lovely working with Roy.
Yeah,
honestly, he's a man.
Roy's freaking amazing. OG Carlos staging all the
Who's
fighters.
your favorite UNF team member besides me? I know you'd say me because you just love me so much. But
Kaya.
no, like come on,
No.
give a real answer.
Look, I don't have a favorite team member, to be honest with you. I mean, we have a lot of.
Who gives you the most headaches? Come on, I'm trying to get some juicy answers here. That's it.
No, the most headaches? Probably you.
Yeah, probably.
No, but because you and I think, carry a lion's share of a lot of the
work. Yeah.
operations and social media. I mean, thank God for Jeremy McPeak, right? Who runs our social media. That guy is the GOAT of social media. You look how good our social looks. Like, he's a one-man show that, from last Saturday. You look at how quickly he gets everything up on Instagram. It's amazing.
No, it is.
Yeah. So really, no, I like everyone that we work with. I have my challenges with them, but again, I'm not an easy guy to work with. I think personally, I'm a easygoing kind of guy personally, but if you want to do business with me, I don't think I'm easy. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is kind of like that.
No, it is. But I'm starting to notice, like, because I kind of learned from you. Like, I'm starting to get more like that with, sometimes with Sherelle. She's like, what turning into your dad? I'm like, that's a good thing, though. But
well, listen, you want things black and white. Like, that's why I try to tell these fighters, like, we want to make things black and white. We want to take away the gray area. So everybody knows where they stand at all times. I think it's not always easy to get used to. And once you have it like that, you really enjoy it. You know what I mean?
No, 100%.
Well, who's
Sherelle by far.
your least favorite?
No, not least favorite. Gives me the most headaches, but I love working
Why does
with
Sherelle give you the most headaches?
Sometimes she just thinks she's like, and I'm no one's boss. I don't like calling myself that, whatever. But
Well, you
I'm
did try to, when we first brought her on, you were trying to call her your assistant.
she was. Now once she got to the point of being able to take over what I was doing, she took over a lot of stuff that was, whether it's contracts, fighter relations stuff, and she proved herself that she could do it all. She took it over, and now she has a different job title now. But I was before really helping her with it. Now she handles stuff on her own. But there's times that she feels like she talks to me like she's the boss. I'm like, this is not how this goes down. I don't like calling myself the boss either, though, because I don't like that. But I help manage her on some projects and everything. Yeah. Just talk to me. I'm like,
that's
Sherelle,
bro.
Yeah. But Sherelle does so many great things, and it's all
you really have to give
respect.
to her. She's really talented.
No, she
like,
is.
Like she does the admin
she
side of
gives
things.
a shit, like she does care. She wants to learn. So yeah, I love having her on the team. She's a big part of UNF, but sometimes she just drives me nuts.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of people that drive me nuts, but overall, man, we've got a really great, solid team.
Yeah, and one thing I love about her too is like sometimes she'll take some phone calls. I'm like, come on, get to work, but she always gets what she needs to get done and on time, right?
Yeah.
Like everything all the time. So it's like, all right, you know what? I heard Dana White do an interview. Like, listen, these people are grown-ups, right? They know what they got to do. They can miss work for 2 hours if they got to go see their kid's soccer game or do whatever it is. And I think that's how, we're developing the team here. Like if I'm running this thing or if I have stuff, as long as you're getting what you got to get done, I'm not going to be this fucking.
Yeah.
Boom,
Look, I
boom,
think
boom.
That's the right mentality, right? It's all got to be based on results.
Yeah,
And if you look at the results of our promotion and what we've been able to accomplish with the hard work of a lot of people, it's not just us.
Oh yeah, of course.
Hard work of a lot of people. I mean, it's pretty impressive for 2.5 years. Contrary to what our local competitors try to say, I do believe we're the number one show in LA.
I mean, listen,
Hello.
man, I got every fighter that fights with us literally tells us you guys are the best promotion in the game, and it's not me just saying it to say it because I want to pat on the back. It's just other promoters step your game up, or don't call yourselves the best. Like it's just one of the two. Like
I laugh because it's like it's always cringy on social media.
biggest gates in
We're
commerce.
doing our biggest show ever.
And it's funny they say that because we
Get ready for a stacked card, and we can go head to head with these guys or night after.
Was one time we went head to head with another promotion out in LA, and
bigger promotion. We smoked them. The place was empty, and they've never come back to LA since.
Yeah,
so
it's fun smoking your competitors. I don't wish anyone like ill, not like ill, but we're in competition at the same time.
Listen,
like
I'm perfectly fine with competition. I think competition is healthy.
Yeah.
But don't do things to try to undermine us. You do you, let us do us. But if you fucking come for us, if you're trying to undermine us, then it's on. It's war. Stay in your lane, we'll stay in ours.
Yeah,
That's how I feel about it.
No, I feel the same way.
Right on. All right, do we have anything else to say besides that UNF 22 was a huge success and UNF 23 is going to be even bigger and better?
No, I don't think I have anything else to say, but I cannot wait for the March show.
Yeah.
Just again, shout out to all the fighters that did fight on UNF 22.
Yeah, that
main event was just fucking icing on the cake for a great night already. Shout out to the girls that put it all on the line.
What's considered viral?
I think I Google searched it one time. I can't remember the number. Chris should know
Chris,
that.
do you know what's considered viral?
Like-
How many views?
I feel like it's like 30,000, right?
Oh, 30,000?
Is it that?
I think it's like something like kind of low.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, so we went viral.
Can be
twice.
We've gone viral a
Consider
lot,
it.
but
Well,
yeah.
not we. Sorry,
Yeah,
Attila
totally.
and Jason
Attila-
Granado.
Yeah, don't try to take Attila's.
Well,
Jason
UNF
shine.
posted it, No, and then Jonathan went viral as well.
Jonathan's gone viral a couple times now.
Yeah. He really wants that. We'll talk. This is the last thing we'll talk about. But he really wants that 170 strap. So gotta figure out something for him too.
So how's that going to go? So, because I know Fedia wants to go down, right?
Yeah, Fede,
that-
there's a lot of moving pieces to this, man. It's gonna go down one way or another. I don't know exactly yet in my head, but I'll come let you know as soon as I figure it all out.
How soon are you looking to do that? May?
Depends when they're healthy, ready to go. But you know me, I think one thing we want to keep these guys active. If they're healthy, let's keep the ball rolling. Let's get fights
Yeah.
going and let's do it. So I would love it for it to
Yeah,
be as soon as
you've
possible.
got to keep those championships rolling, right? Because you can't hold up those divisions. There's a lot of worthy dudes that want to fight for that strap.
Yeah.
So can't slow down their futures, bro.
100%. Well,
All right.
I'm gonna make it happen.
Okay. So we're gonna sign off now. Say goodbye.
Yeah.
All right.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Like, comment, subscribe, do whatever you're supposed to do.
Yeah,
Bye.
do all that.